I would yield to my friend from Louisiana.
From Texas, my colleague and friend, Mr. Roy. And I would prefer to not have to expound upon this topic, because what I would prefer is that my colleagues in this body on both sides of the aisle embrace the very somber responsibility of encouraging and supporting the laws of our land. And yet we find ourselves in a position as conservatives where our warnings of the past echo upon a nearly empty chamber as we discuss the horrors of the day and the crimes that have been committed upon the citizens we're sworn to serve that need not have been committed, because the culture that we have allowed, as my friend has spoken on, the culture that we have allowed to spread across our country, that we have allowed elected officials to embrace, that culture that has woven its way into the fabric of our country, that pushes back against the prevention and enforcement of law, the prevention of crime and the enforcement of law, and sells this idea that we are somehow a less compassionate nation if we do not continually release career criminals upon the street. This notion that we can somehow enforce criminal law with social vagaries. This idea that somehow if we will just be very, very nice to the criminal element, they'll just stop committing crimes upon the law abiding of our country. We have to stand against the existence of that concept, certainly in this body that is responsible for being the voice of we the people. And in cases where horrors are forced upon our innocent citizens by career criminals that should have well been institutionalized or imprisoned for many, many years, and we have a responsibility to speak out. And I would say that it is far from compassionate as a citizenry to continue to release a career criminal who maybe, and I would offer to the country, Mr. Speaker, for your consideration, maybe my fellow citizen has to realize that the best shot some of these guys that are in the game on the criminal side of this thing, the best shot they have at rehabilitation is jail. The very best shot. I've seen it again and again and again in my career. I've had criminals that I've taken off of the street that lived a life just immersed in drugs and crime and alcohol and violence. And maybe for the first time in their life, they were truly treated with the respect of man to man when I arrested them and took them off the street and walked them through the booking process and told them that they have a potential for a better life and a better day. But their path to a brighter future comes through my jail. And I advise them to take that time in that jail to reflect upon their life and the potential that they have to turn themselves around. And years later, Mr. Speaker, I've had these same guys come to me who are now free and say, thank you. Thank you for talking to me the way you did and handling me the way you did and making me realize that my path to a better life began through jail. And the fact that this horrible man should brutally stab this innocent woman that is part of the national narrative right now, the fact that we are dealing with that horror brings us to hold accountable every judge that let him go and every prosecutor that refused to force charges upon that man, every elected official and politician that stood for cashless bail, every member of our society that stood on the wrong side of this thing should take a deep look in the mirror. I say to my friend, Mr. Roy, who's a gentleman who supports the enforcement of law, is a good and compassionate man, a father and husband, determined to serve his country, and asking our fellow man, Mr. Speaker, to hear this message. Enforce existing laws. Prosecute violent criminals. Incarcerate those who are convicted and maintain that incarceration until they are reformed or their sentence is complete. We say this not just for ourselves, but for the murdered, for the lost, for the forgotten, for the unseen victims of crime across our country. I yield back to the gentleman from Texas.
I see my friend.